Hello and welcome. Welcome to anyone that is a first time visitor. Welcome back to anyone that has been here before. Whether you feel you are soul tribe or not, there is something here that is informational for you, or you would not be here. So I am just giving a quick clearing of the air, and wow, there's a lot of black within um, this clearing here, the smoke. Very interesting. Um, Perhaps there is some shadow aspect that is wanting to release and blend. Ariketarai. Ikash karatai. Inananaya ki katatai shkata. Arayanaya. Koraiskiti. Koraiskiti arakiti aya. Toshkata. All right. We will let that sit there and continue to cleanse for as long as it needs to. I put out a very long channeling. What will be yesterday when this one is posted. I am doing them on the same day. There was so much that Spirit was bringing into me that I literally needed to stop because that channeling was 40 minutes long already. So I needed to just take a break. They're raising me up into another consciousness. So we will see what comes forward. Whenever I think that I know what they're going to bring, they bring me something else and surprise me. So I am being brought to ritual. And interesting, as I cleanse this space here with the ritual sage and the abalone shell that I have here that I actually found on the beach myself, I am being called to talk somewhat about rituals. Rituals are simply patterns or things that we do that keep us in a certain state of mind. And Spirit is bringing me to rituals. When I first began my journey, I was very ritualistic. I did full moon releases. I did new moon intents. I wrote everything down. I sat by candle. I did my prayers every single day. I meditated without fail every single day at a certain time of the day in a very specific space with intention. I did certain prayers before I came on to do readings, and I was very diligent in those rituals. And then I've noticed over the last, as I've really developed and advanced, that I have noticed that I do not require the same amount of meditation as what I did previously. And Spirit says that that is due to the connection that I already have, that I have established. I have already established a connection. Meditation really helps us when we are in our beginning stages, or if we are needing to receive information for ourselves, perhaps on a frequency level that we are not really attuned to. It will help us to be able to move into that attunement or to really receive something that we may be having difficulty receiving, if that is an intent that we are setting upon that. So as you move more and more into your spirituality with the rituals that you have created and established within your life, you may find that you may not need to be quite so scheduled with them, that you can more sit in more of a relaxed state and just receive and be able to connect that way. And that is what I'm finding a lot with me, that I am finding that there are different ways for me to connect. For example, going for a walk on the beach connects me with Gaia and with anything above coming in, that I am the conduit in between, and I can receive a lot of things on that walk. It is a quiet time for me, and actually, since I've moved to Ecuador, I find that it is almost a necessity for me to do something like that in order to meditate, because there is so much noise here all of the time with different things. There's always construction, it seems like, going on, pounding. There's loud music, there's motorbikes, there's dogs barking. There is all of those things that are quite disruptive when you are trying to have a meditation, which really requires us, within that silence, to go within. And you may say, oh, well, I have used noise canceling headphones, but in order to block out the outside noise, I have to put on music. So I still am receiving noise within the noise. So for me, I am finding that it is necessary for me to get out on the beach, because when you get out on the beach next to the ocean, you can't hear anything but the ocean. Once in a while you'll hear noise, but it's not a common thing that you can hear. And that allows me the ability to be able to connect within that silence, to be able to hear exactly what I'm being told. Not that I can't connect and bring things forward, but it is a space of peace for me. And with this coming forward, this may be something that you are requiring as well, is to carve out something within your day to where you can connect with your inner self, to be able to let go of all the noise that is around you. Because that noise creates disruptions and distortions within the auric field as it reflects and bounces and does all those things that energy does. So that may be something that you may be finding that you are requiring. I know it is something that I am requiring. And that's interesting, because I wanted to talk about the rituals of the release of the moon and things like that. And I was more brought to the art of meditation than the different forms of meditation. So what Spirit is saying is to really tap into the form of meditation that works for you. I have really been guided of late to, as well, take an opportunity to look into like a flame. Okay, a flame. When I first began, my journey, I had a very specific candle, and then I ended up not being able to have it anymore. But it was a candle holder, and when I put a candle within that holder, it just seemed to really hold visions for me, and I could see things within that candle that was really incredible for me. So you may also find that scrying for you is a big thing. And scrying can happen in many different ways. You can scry within a flame. You can scry within the clouds. You can scry within water. You can scry within pictures, within drawings, paintings, photos, a mirror. There are many things that you can scry within. When I began doing my readings as well, I had a very specific blanket that I used to throw that I could see in front of me. And I would throw it on the back of my chair, and I would see that I would see images within that blanket that would bring me messages. Spirit would bring me messages that way, and that was a very successful way for me to read energy and to bring forward messages to others. So we are being asked at this time to really look into what is it that is working for us. Set up a ritual of an intent of being able to work in that way. You might want to look at a deity of some sort that you feel very attached to, and what you feel their gifts is, or what do they possess. Are they fire, air, water, earth? What is that they possess? And as you work with that deity, perhaps connect with whatever element it is that they connect with within their journey. And you will be able to find that when you do research on that. Okay, what is that element? Even the direction. Okay, the east, west, north, south, as well as earthly and ether energies, to really connect with that as well. What is that deity working with? What elements is that deity working with that they perhaps are trying to bring into your consciousness, your awareness, that you are meant to work with and through? That's fascinating that they would bring that. Excuse me, I need to have a drink. I feel like I need to cough, and they're really pulling me. Oh. I'm really being pulled. So whatever deity it is that you feel pulled towards, for example, for me, I have a very strong connection with the dragon collective. Very, very strong. And of course, the dragon carry all the elements. Okay? They carry all of those elements. And so therefore, for me, I find that I am connected to all of those elements, and I use all of those elements at different times. Now, for example, the dragon can be, the fire, right? Perhaps you might want to try scrying with fire. Maybe you're connected with the water dragon and you have a deep connection with water. Maybe set up a bowl with some water in it and see what you can see. And they're just really bringing to me that scrying aspect. I'm not sure why. But obviously it's a message for you to look into different things. I feel like a lot of you are trying to really look within your third eye, and you have a certain idea of what that should look like in order for you to be able to receive visions. For example, for myself, I receive visions within my mind's eye. I receive visions outside of my mind's eye. I see visions that you know, manifest within orbs, within spirits, within different things that I see outside as well of my body. But we can sometimes get really stuck on an idea of how we should see things and how they should manifest for us. And if we have an idea that our third eye is going to allow us to see a being that is standing outside of our body, that can be a blockage for us in being able to receive it in a way that it is trying to come to us, to be shown. Okay? So this is an indication for you to try something new. This message is coming to you to look at different ways of using your senses, your clairs. Okay? So when we look at clairvoyance, for example, you might see it within your mind, but maybe it is a scrying for you where you're going to be able to see it, within that bowl of water, or within the mirror, or within the flame. But just really allow yourself to really almost get into a trance-like state, a very relaxed trance-like state, to where your eyes are not so focused on just the object. So, if we were using fire like this, for example, we don't want to continually focus on the holder, okay? Or focus on keeping that flame as simply a small flame. Let me see if I can bring this up. Like that. So you've got the flame there. So we don't want to focus on just the flame being a continual flame. We want to focus on allowing our eyes to kind of blur that flame until we begin to see that flame morph into different shapes. Okay? Allowing yourself to just not focus, but more look through it. Okay? To more look through that flame. And allow it to transform into different shapes. And don't doubt what it is that you are seeing. Okay, what do you see it shaping into? You may see an aura that is around it that is showing the flame, and then the yellow, and then the orange. Like, what does that orange mean to you? Okay, does that orange represent creativity? And just simply allow yourself to think outside of the box. Don't blink your eyes and focus back into what you believe that flame should look like, but just allow your eyes to continue to look through it and see what you are receiving within that. Trusting what it is that you are receiving, that there is a message that comes along with that. You can even set an intent before you scry into that. You can ask, who is my spirit guide? Who is my spirit animal? And of course, you have many spirit animals. You have a totem of them. And they are all going to be within a different area of your life, okay? But you may ask, who is my main spirit guide or main spirit animal? And you may see that animal form within that flame, to where you're just like within a cloud formation that you may see. Don't be disappointed with the animal that they bring you. Sometimes, we want this great big, beautiful tiger, and we end up with a spider. And we're like, ooh, what do we want a spider for? But a spider is a great dream weaver. They're a web weaver. They are a creator. And sometimes we look at things as being very majestic in one way, and that may very well be true, but we do not realize the beautiful attributes that something else is offering to us that we are overlooking because of the way we have been taught to see something. A spider in comparison to, say, for example, a black jaguar or something like that, I actually have the black jaguar as my shadow animal. It came to me very early in my journey in the night and scared the bejeebus out of me. But just recently, I had this huge spider come to me. And I, first of all, had it appear to me within a dream. And it's interesting because it appeared to me within the dream as a white spider, and almost like a tarantula. And I was very afraid, and I was like, whoa, and I hit the spider away, us women with our emotional reactions. Anyway, you guys, let me put this back. I can't remember how long it would have been later, but maybe a week or so later. And actually, it should be on this channel, the actual channeling that I received of it, where I had a spider come into a reading that I was doing when I was doing a channeling, this great big spider. And it's a big white spider with black legs, I believe, as I remember. And they said that they were source consciousness, that they were connected to source consciousness, and that I am a web weaver, a dream weaver, creator. And, sometimes we lose sight of the way that we see things, and we miss seeing the beauty and the gifts that are coming with something that we don't always want to accept as a part of ourselves. So we might fear spiders a little bit. We may fear spiders because we fear our own creativity. We may have turned our back on our own creativity. And the strange part about that, as this happened, my creativity opened up into my art and my painting, and I began to do paintings and things as well when the web weaver showed up. So what we are being asked here is to really be open to whatever it is that the divine is wanting to bring to us, because they do know what it is that we are working on, and those animals, guides that are coming from whatever kingdom they are coming from, that are here to help us. Okay? We don't always get to have the guide that we want. We have the guide that we need. And those guides come to us in order to crack us open, to allow the light to shine in, to show us the beauty that we have been hiding away deep within ourselves, because we have felt that it was unworthy or unattractive in some way. Such as, I had seen the spider as very scary and fearful, and then allowing that to come in and allowing the beauty of my own creativity to step forward. And that is what you are being asked to do. Wow. We started with ritual. November is a huge month of, they're saying recycling, remembering, and revaluation. Oh, I got to write that down. Sorry, you guys. Recycling. Oh, and my pen's going dead. Recycling, remembering, and even this one. Oh my goodness. Recycling, remembering, and re-evaluation. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Recycling, remembering, and reevaluation. So that is really fascinating, because we are being asked to reevaluate what it is that we feel was kind of garbage material. We're being asked to reevaluate that and recycle that into our life. So parts and aspects of ourselves that we wanted to discard and hide away have valuable things within it. Like, for example, you might have an old pop bottle that's just plastic, right? The pop is gone, so you think the value of it is gone because what you wanted, you've gotten out of it. But that plastic is still there, and that plastic can be used for something else. It can be used to hold something else. Okay? So what is it that you are recycling into something new? We are moving into a completely ability to create new things here. And that reminds me, actually, when my husband and I were on the beach this morning, as we were walking along, we saw a little fish that was just kind of peeking out of the sand. There was a little bit of water over, and he was stuck in the sand, like he obviously got sand pushed on him with the ocean. And he was like he was going to be dying. He couldn't move, and the water was moving out. So my husband reached down and picked him up out of the sand and put him in in a big pool of water. And he was so happy he just swam away. So as we continued our walk, we came upon a stingray, a baby stingray, you guys. It was only about like this big around, and then the stingray, and it was just laying in the sand with just a little bit of moisture on it. And we were like, oh my goodness, here's something else that is going to die on the sand if we don't pick it up. So we took my shoes, and because of course they're a stingray, you don't want to get stung, even though they're small. I don't know the potency of them. I have no idea. But I didn't want to get stung. And isn't that interesting? Because the sting of Scorpio seal. Wow, okay, Spirit. Anyways, we picked the stingray up with my flip-flops and placed it into the ocean where it swam happily away. This little stingray. And when I got home, I looked up. I said to my husband at the time, I said, I need to look up what that's about. But I said, I really feel like with those both being baby fish and baby stingray, I really feel like there is something new that is being created, a completely new opportunity here, a reevaluation, a recycling, an opportunity to completely start a clean slate. And when I looked up a baby stingray, that's exactly what it said. And I was like, okay, so I guess I am in touch. And that is the energy that right now we are creating is from a state of completely, I want to say new vision. And as I say new vision, what the new vision means is that we are looking through a new lens. A new lens to filter out the old shadows, to see through a new perspective. So it's interesting because it's almost like looking through an old lens and seeing something new, or looking through a new lens and seeing the old wash. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. How can I explain this, Spirit? It's a recycling of yourself and of what you have hidden. You are learning new ways. You are remembering in a new way. And this is something else that I had a conversation about as well, is that sometimes we'll talk to somebody that we've known for a long time and they will have been at the same thing as us, but they will remember something entirely different to the way that we have the recollection of it. And it is because we are seeing through our own woundings, okay, our own filter of what it is that we have experienced. And when we look through eyes of a body that is wounded, we see everything with a certain distortion. Everything is colored towards that wounding until we heal that wounding. And once that wounding is healed, we are able to receive that wisdom, and we are able then to be able to create from a completely new space, a healed space, where we are able then to have a new vision. That is really fascinating. Recycling, remembering, and reevaluation. Wow. And they began with ritual, another R. The ritual of recycling. Okay, thank you, Spirit. The ritual of recycling, remembering, and reevaluation. And that is bringing us into a completely new vibration. Wow. Thank you, Spirit. I am so appreciative of all of the messages that are coming through. And I know I used to kind of question when I felt like I was rambling on, but Spirit knows what to say and what to do. And people that need to receive the message will find the message. And maybe the messages that I am bringing through are things that are coming through that other people feel are not of enough value because they don't create as much of a following as what they would want to create. But my intent has always been for healing. It has always been for support. And it has always been for the highest and greatest good of all. And every soul is important. Everyone. So thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for honoring me with your energy, with being able to guide you in any way toward your own healing, toward your own brilliance, toward your own empowerment. It is my complete honor to do that. And until next time, please remember how very much you are loved, that I love you. And always remember to let love be your guide.